Hi everyone and welcome back to Story of the World Highlights. Today we'll be discussing chapter 19. Chapter 19 brings us back to India. And if you remember last time we were in India, we were discussing the ruler Aurangzeb and his 3 bad decisions that weakened the government in India. Now, picking up where we left off, we have Aurangzeb dies. When Aurangzeb dies, his son then becomes in charge, right? So his son, he had 3 of them, and they all wanted to be in charge. So they ended up fighting each other. And the oldest one, Bahadur, he won and became emperor. Now, he was already 64 years old at the time. So he didn't have much time left to live. And in that time, he really tried to fix the things his dad did wrong. So his dad had made problems between the Muslims and the Hindu people. So what he did is he decided to become more tolerant and accepting of different religions. Then he also went down to the south with the Decca and he said, hey, let's try and make peace again. So he was really trying to fix those things. However, he only lived for 5 more years. And when he died, his son became in charge. Now, his son was not a great leader. He was very much in love with a dancing woman, and he loved her and said, I want to give you money and make you and your friends powerful. And eventually other noblemen said, that's enough. That's not helping India. And 2 noblemen in particular, 2 brothers known as the Ali brothers, they said, he's got to go. And so they hired an assassin to kill him. And with the son dead, they went over and replaced him with another Moghul descendant, somebody from the same family. And his name was Farooq Hishishar. And he was a scaredy cat. He didn't know how to rule. He was always scared that people were going to attack him, even the kids at the castle. So the Ali brothers said, not again. And they hired an assassin and they killed him too. So now we have 1, 2. They replaced him with a guy who had epilepsy, which is a condition that gives you seizures. And this man, he only lasted 4 months and then he died of a seizure. So moving on to the 4th try. And our 4th try, that guy didn't live even as long as the seizure guy. So that guy died. Number 4 died. And finally they said, we need a better option. We need somebody young, somebody that is energetic. And that's when they put Muhammad Shah on the throne. Now, Muhammad Shah was only 17 when he was put on the throne. And yes, he was energetic, but he spent all his energy with hobbies such as wild animal fights. And as ruler, emperor, he just spent lots of money doing that and not taking care of the people and the country. So things were very unorganized and chaotic at court. Now, let's take a pause and go look at Persia right now. So Persia, if you remember, is between India and the Ottoman Empire. Now, Persia, we have somebody named Nadir. Now, Nadir was a war hero, and he had gotten himself fame and recognition and made himself the new Shah. Now, he wasn't a royal family member, so he was worried that people might say, you shouldn't be Shah. And when you remember, when we learned about Prussia, in order to make people really believe you and take you seriously, sometimes you need other people in power, other rulers, to agree that you are in charge. Makes it harder for other people to disagree. So he sent letters to his neighboring countries, India being one of them, and said, hey, I am the Shah now. I need you to support me. But remember what I said about court during the time of Muhammad Shah. It was very chaotic, and his letter got lost, and no one responded. And when Nadir Shah did not hear back, he thought that that was rude, and he was not going to stand for it. So he marched over to Delhi, the capital of India, taking every village he passed with him. And when he got to Delhi, he just was so angry, he burned it down and killed all the people inside and made Muhammad Shah bow down to him. And You think that's enough, but no. While he was there, he decided to do something called looting. And looting is where you go and you steal valuable things from different places. So he went first to the Taj Mahal, and he stole gems and gold and lots of valuables. And he went to other landmarks and did the same. And then he went to the throne, which in India is a very famous throne called the peacock throne, because it has peacock feathers as part of the throne. Now, he even took that back to Persia and broke it apart into different pieces so that he could keep all the jewels. So he really destroyed what was known as the Indian Empire. So moving forward, we have a situation where Delhi is burned down to the ground, the capital city. The throne is stolen and destroyed. We have the Taj Mahal being destroyed in lots of different parts. And at the time, because of this unorganized situation, a lot of the different noblemen or people that governed different areas of India were dividing it up and claiming territory and claiming to be rulers of these territories. These territories are called provinces. And we started to see many different kings claiming ownership of each province. So this kind of situation where people are fighting over province land and territory, some are ruled by Muslims, some are ruled by Hindus, some are just ruled by people who are greedy and want more. With all of this going on, there was a certain company in Bengal who was nervous about their investments in India at the time. And that was the British East India Company. Okay? So India was weak, like I just said, and was dividing into provinces with their own rulers in each. And the British East India Company had become very rich from selling natural resources and unique things like silks from India. They were making lots of money, so much money that they had asked Aurangzeb to make a city called Calcutta to build factories, right? Well, now with everything becoming a little nervous around India with different people fighting, taking land, the people who worked for this company, they needed to go to different areas to get materials. But now with all these different territories and aggressive people, they were worried. So they decided to build a fort around their two trading posts. And they had one in Bombay and one in Bengal. And Bengal is where Calcutta was. So they were starting to build forts around, and they were even putting guns on the top of each of the forts so that soldiers could shoot anyone who would come. That was making the leader of Bengal a little nervous. He was like, hey, why do you guys need guns? Are you going to try to attack me and take Bengal? Should I be worried? And he decided to make himself feel safer by going to the French and asking them to help knock out all of the soldiers in Calcutta. And the French said, of course, we don't like the British. All right, cool. And they did that. And when they went and they seized the fort, they ended up taking all 146 people and shoving them into the one little dungeon cellar that was located there. Now, it was so crammed and packed in there that people died of not being able to breathe. There was not enough space to breathe. People were thirsty and hungry, and they died of thirst and starvation. And this became known when it was told to other people. It was called the Black Hole of Calcutta. Now, because of this, the East India Company said, hey, they just went and killed a bunch of our people, our employees. Not cool. And they said they were going to send their own soldiers, a company. They're not a country, but they were going to hire soldiers and a general, and they were going to march them down to India to go against the leader of Bengal that did that to their employees. So the leader of Bengal Siraj, he had a ruler of his army, and this general was named Mir Jafar. And the new hired general of the company's hired army was named Sir Robert Clive. And Sir Robert Clive said, I'm going to send a message to Mir Jafar before I get there. And I'm going to say, listen, if you don't attack us when we come, I'll make sure you are the new ruler of Bengal. Now, Mir Jafar liked that deal and said, okay. And that's what happened. So when the British arrived, they defeated Shiraj with no problems, and Mir Jafar became the new ruler of Bengal. Now, because he was the ruler and the East India Company gave him that power, they kind of expected Jafar to do everything they wanted. And some of the things he was not okay with. And so he finally said, enough's enough of this company bossing me around. And he tried to fight against them. But the company said, England, this is your investment in trade and everything that's making you rich. You need to come and support us. And that's what England did. England went in and helped defeat Mir Jafar. And instead of replacing him with another Indian ruler, they just made themselves the rulers. And now we have a colony of Bengal. And the emperor was so scared of these new invaders that he was like, all right, British people, you can go ahead and tax all the people in Bengal and use the money however you want. I'm not going to say anything. And it was official then. Bengal was a colony of England and had to follow English rules. And eventually, because of all the weakened states of these different provinces, England kept going on and taking over more and more provinces until they had all of India as their own. So this is how the English came to take over India. That's it for chapter 19. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.